GCSE Science, Exam Body, Edexcel 2011. Duration 3 years. Units 4 units per GCSE. Coursework makes up 25% of each GCSE. Examinations. You will sit 3 one-hour exams worth a total of 75% of your overall grade. B1. Influences on life. This unit explores the general characteristics of animals and plants, then looks more closely at the 5 vertebrate groups and organisms that can survive in extreme environments. In this topic, students will learn about the problems of classifying some organisms and will study variation as well as basic principles of inheritance and Darwin's theory of evolution by natural selection. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. Chemistry in our world. Summary. Students will find out how metals are extracted from their ores and consider how metals are used. They will also learn the importance of humans moving to a more sustainable use of Earth's resources and how recycling metals contributes by preserving ores. Students will also consider how chemists develop new alloys to fit new applications and how alloys have different properties from their component metals. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. P1. Universal Physics. In Unit P1, students study 6 topics that give them the opportunity to explore physics in terms of waves and the universe, helping them to develop an understanding of waves and how scientific ideas develop. Seismic waves and plate tectonics are also investigated. The electromagnetic spectrum, electricity, and conservation of energy are then explored to give students a solid grounding in important principles in physics. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. B2. The components of life. Summary. In this unit, students compare the structure of animal, bacterial and plant cells. Students will learn about the relationship between genes and DNA and find out how cells divide. Exciting scientific developments such as genetic engineering, the Human Genome Project and the use of stem cells are key aspects of this topic. Enzyme properties and the principles of enzyme action are important areas of biology also covered. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. C2. Discovering chemistry. Everything in the world, including us, is made of atoms. There are just over 100 different elements, and most of these elements exist as one or more type of atom. These atoms can combine together to form a huge number of different compounds. An understanding of how the atoms are bonded together helps us to explain the properties of these compounds and to predict how new compounds may behave. The purpose of this unit is to give students a more extensive understanding of chemistry by introducing them to some important basic ideas. In particular, they will appreciate how chemistry has progressed through a series of discoveries and advances in understanding. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. P2. Physics for your future. In Unit P2, students study 6 topics that give them the opportunity to develop their understanding of significant concepts and relate them to important uses for both today and the future. Electricity is explained further, building on Unit P1. Students are introduced to motion, forces and momentum. Nuclear reactions and nuclear power are then discussed, including the uses and dangers of radioactivity. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. B3. Using biology. Students are always fascinated by the complex functions of the human body. Topic 1 enables them to study systems and processes with which they are largely unfamiliar. For example, the structure and function of the kidney and hormonal control of the menstrual cycle. A study of sex-linked disorders and the principles of immunization add to the variety of this topic. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. C3. Chemistry in action. The purpose of this unit is to provide students with opportunities to apply what they have learnt in C1 and C2. This consolidates their understanding and knowledge before commencing an AS or A-level course, or gives them the satisfaction of feeling they have achieved something worthwhile in their GCSE chemistry course. They will realise that they can study and understand qualitative and quantitative inorganic analysis, electrolysis, equilibrium and organic chemistry, seeing the importance and relevance of what they have learned for industrial as well as for laboratory purposes. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. P3. Applications of physics. This highly engaging unit builds on the knowledge gained in units P1 and P2 by introducing students to medical physics. Students will learn how physics principles are vital in modern medicine in the way that they are applied to diagnoses, treatment, and the storage of medicines. Students will explain ideas and processes using models while studying radiation, radioactive decay, subatomic structure, momentum and kinetic theory. Work on the intensity of radiation, lenses, momentum, kinetic energy, frequency and gases will provide students with opportunities to work quantitatively. They will have opportunities to communicate scientific information using scientific and mathematical conventions and symbols during work on ray diagrams and vision. Students will explain ideas and processes using models while studying radiation, radioactive decay, subatomic structure, momentum and kinetic theory. Work on the intensity of radiation, lenses, momentum, kinetic energy, frequency and gases will provide students with opportunities to work quantitatively. They will have opportunities to communicate scientific information using scientific and mathematical conventions and symbols during work on ray diagrams and vision and when constructing nuclear equations. At the end of this unit, you will be required to sit a 1-hour exam worth 25% of your overall grade. Tiers. Students can be entered for higher or foundation tier papers or a combination of both. The higher papers allow students to gain grades A* to C, the foundation paper has more structured questions and allows students to gain grades C to G. Coursework is not tiered, so all students can achieve up to an A* in this element. The GCSE science course is ideal for students who are interested in how the world works. Students can follow the triple or double GCSE science route. There is also the option for some students to study BTEC Science, where examinations make up 25% of the overall qualification, with greater emphasis on coursework. If you would like to ask any questions about the course, please email the Science Department at the address shown on screen.